Hello, everybody. It's Blue Max here, and we're back with another Watcher of Realms video. By popular demand within my guild, the Guardians of Light, specifically within the Wardens of Light, of which I'm the guild leader, they asked for an Apocalypse 1 guide so that we can start maximizing those results. There are other guides out there. They're super great, they're super detailed, and I use them to learn the mechanics myself. So now I'm going to try to pass along what I've learned and try to distill it in as succinct a manner as possible. So Apocalypse 1, if you try this boss fight, having only done Drake's Chasm, and you just drop the same units in as you would use in Drake's Chasm, you're going to get slapped within about the first 30 seconds of the fight, and you're going to be frustrated and not sure what to do. That was my experience for a good while. I'll also say that this fight is a lot more hero specific, but I've put together a motley crew, a mod squad of mostly epic heroes that are going to get us at least through the first round, maybe even the second round, in pursuit of that 30K mark. Now, I will be dropping into a spreadsheet mode to kind of go over each one of the heroes that I selected and what role they're going to play. This is not going to be an exhaustive list of roles. If you're experienced in Apoc 1, you're going to be noticing that I'm not bringing in any AoE damage reduction, and that is because it's not essential to start getting the rewards for the chest. And here are those rewards. So if you just get 1,000 mech fragments, you're going to get a chest every week, and there are some really good rewards in here. Your goal is to work your way up to the 30,000 mark, and once you do that, come back next week, face off against Apocalypse 2, which is a lot harder. Your goal then is to try to hit that 8,000 reward. And I'm trying to remember if I was able to do the 8,000 mech fragment chest. I don't think I could do it until I pulled Twyla, but we'll talk about that more in a bit. But the idea is once you can clear APOC 1, take that team, move it into APOC 2, and try to work your way up. And if you can get this chest, I'll tell you right now, this chest right here is better. The 8,000 mech fragment chest for APOC 2 is better than the 30,000 APOC 1 chest. So this is your next goal. And then you can take and build a B team for APOC 1 and start working your way up those rewards. So we're going to transition now into spreadsheet mode to just briefly cover each one of these heroes, and then we're going to jump into the fight. We're going to get into the fight as quick as we possibly can, and then afterwards, we may go back into lecture mode. But my fear is I don't want to information overload. I want to get in and get dirty and kind of see the mechanics, and then we'll go talk about even better heroes to work on this. Let's get started. And here we are in Google Sheets, and let me know in the comments if you think this background's a bit ugly. I am missing a lot of headers and stuff that I typically put on this. It's been a hot minute since I've done any YouTube coverage. I did a lot with Warcraft Rumble, Blizzard's Warcraft Rumble, but that was a year and a half ago, and so I'm just trying to step back into this as gingerly as possible. So the first hero we have there is Wrath, and he is an epic faction lord for the Nightmare comp. And the more Nightmare units we bring, the higher the attack speed for the overall group. So his primary role in this fight is he's going to be faction lord, but he's also going to do a fair amount of DPS. He is not essential for any one of these stages. Now, I'll probably jump over. Oh, actually, we're doing Helga because Nazim is a platform. Let's talk about Helga real quick, just so we can cover stage one. So, the APOC fight has three separate stages, and you'll clearly see them. And in that first one, Semrah is going to charge up this buzzsaw, and you're going to have this countdown. And during that time, you're going to want to stun the boss as many times as you can. And there's only a few heroes in the game that can do that. Helga can do it on her ult, and I'll show you exactly what we're talking about when we get into the fight. So that's what she's going to be doing. And her secondary role is going to be kind of DPS. She doesn't do a huge amount of damage, but that's okay. Her role is just to stun the boss, because the more stuns you apply, the less damage the boss is going to do to your team once that cooldown has charged. Now, Deimos is also Nightmare. This is another epic damage dealer, not a hero that you should sleep on if you're early game, and Deimos is going to add a lot of DPS. Deimos was also pretty crucial for my progression into Nightmare, Drake's Chasm. Volca, She is going to provide some DPS, but her primary job is she's going to bring physical and magical vulnerability. So what does that do? That adds 20% either physical or magic damage on top of your attack. So to take some kind of simple numbers, if my attack is 100, obviously we wouldn't be bringing anything like that. But if my attack were 100, then if the enemy has physical or magical vulnerability applied, then that attack's going to actually be 120. So take that and apply it to your situation, and you can understand it better. It basically just adds more damage. Now, Nisande, this is a healer. So she does single target heal, but on her ult, she is going to cleanse everyone that is in her ult range, and then she's going to do kind of some AoE healing. This is going to be super important for stage 3 when the boss is going to apply a poison that is going to affect everyone. And it's a damage over time, or like in the RPG world, we call that a dot. And it's going to be super essential to clear those dots because they stack really fast, and this fight can get out of hand very quickly if you don't do anything about it. So in our number 6 slot, we're going to use Isolde. She is an epic Northerner faction lord, and I'm using her because she's an epic, and she's a rock-solid tank. She is going to provide some faction bonuses for Midan and Estrid, who are both also part of the Northerner faction. Also, when she ults, she is going to provide damage reduction, I believe, to anyone within the range of her ult. So we'll kind of look at that real quick. So Midan, she is an AoE healer. She is an absolutely amazing epic healer, and I think she heals 3 units, and she's very tanky because her heals are based upon her max HP rather than attack. So that means you get to build her with a lot more HP, which means she's going to survive longer in this fight. But when she sends her ult out, she's also going to heal. Now, I have 2 cleansers, and the reason why is because we are going to really fight with our rage. And in order to assist with that, we've got a third. I'm going to pass on Estrid real quick and go to Hollow. Hollow is a healer. She has absolutely amazing range, and she does rage regen. Real quick plug with Hollow. I didn't get her until much later in the game. I've only been playing for 6 months, but I am a bit of a spender and I'm a bit of a tryhard. So by the time I got Hollow, I already had Elowin and Ireless, who are the absolute best healers and rage regenerators in the game. So I didn't get to use her a lot. But you're going to see whenever we pop Midan's ult, we're also going to pop Hollow's ult. The reason why is because she's going to apply rage regeneration. She's going to rage regen. The reason we need this is because Midan's ult is kind of long. I don't remember if it's 15 or 20 seconds. But all we really need her to do is get that initial cleanse. So during that 20-second ult, she is not regenerating rage. And we need her back up to her ult as quick as possible because that stage 3 is going to take a little while to get through with the motley crew that we have. And we absolutely have to have her and Nisande ready to continue to cleanse during that fight. Dropping back to Estrid, we picked her up because she is kind of a little tanky. She is a Northerner. She is an epic. She's amazing at Matrix if you kind of have a mid-game account. She is going to provide some amount of DPS, but like with Volca, she's actually an AoE physical damage dealer. So she's not going to do as much damage as a single target, but we're picking her up for defense reduction. It's going to reduce the amount of defense that Semrah has. And as we get deeper into that fight, that's going to be super important because Semrah is going to get pretty tanky. Our last hero is a legendary, like Helga. It's Talon. Talon was on Raid Up recently, so I'm hoping some people have her. And she is going to provide some good DPS and single target on platform, but she's going to do an amazing offensive buff dispel. Unlike some of the other offensive dispellers, hers is just kind of built into her kit, and she's going to dispel really quickly. And in that stage 2 called the Aegis Phase, this is a really tough one. This is a tough one where the boss is going to continually to apply additional stacks of Aegis buff to itself, and it's gonna make Semrah really tough, really tanky. And so if you don't have an offensive dispeller, what you're gonna see in that stage 2 is your damage is going to continue to start winding down, and you're going to do less and less damage the longer the stage goes. And so that was often where my APOC 1 and APOC 2 journey ended, simply because I ran out of time. So it's going to be super important to get Talon. I will make a quick plug for Twyla. She is a Nightmare single target healer, and I recently watched Dr. D's and Mystical's video. You ought to check it out, where they talk about some of the heroes in Watcher of Realms that were early game serious clappers that have gradually been power crept, and they put Twyla on that list as being one of the absolute most power crept heroes, and that is true because, as I understand it, within about a month of Twyla being released, that's when Kagiri came, and Kagiri just absolutely carries in a fight like this. But if you don't have Kagiri, and it takes a while to get Kagiri because most of the experts say when you get that first limited pick selector, pick Dao Chan. And I do agree with that. Dao Chan's amazing. But going back to it, Twyla does defense penetration. She ignores defense the more she pops her ult. So you get deeper into that fight. And Twyla, she carried me from the first chest of APOC 2 all the way to like 40,000. It was amazing. So I've talked for way too long. I guess I'm more of a talker than I realize. We're going to jump back into the game, get into the fight, and get rolling. And we're back in the game, and I'm going to ramble for just a minute longer before we get started. We are going to jump into Isolde's kit real quick, go under skills, and look at that ult. And yes, when we pop that ult, it is going to, for our purposes, it's going to add physical and magical damage reduction. Let's go ahead and read it. So it means that physical damage reduction plus 30%. And so the amount of damage we take is going to be reduced for the duration of that ult, which is 15 seconds. Not too bad. So we're going to try to keep that in mind as we get later into the fight, and we know that some serious strikes are about to hit. We're going to go ahead and pop this, and it's going to allow us to at least protect some of our squishier units. Okay. One final caveat before we jump into this fight, and that is none of my healers are using tier 2 invigoration sets. You don't get these until you clear stage 19 of Gear Raid 2 and you do some farming. So we're going to assume, hang on, actually, nope, Nisande doesn't. Actually, maybe some of them do. I kind of cheated with the healers. Okay, Medan does, but here's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to be very intentional about the way I place my heroes down. If if I get a bunch of likes or comments asking me to do an APOC 2 guide in which I will use my pretty meta APOC 2 team, I will be very, very intentional about how I place down my heroes in order to gain that invig bug buff. So if you don't know, the set bonus for invigoration is that it applies 10% damage or attack to the wearer, and that can be helpful with healers, especially the ones that heal based upon their max attack. But it also applies that to one other ally, and you have to be very intentional about how you place units in order to gain those buffs. And I'll even show you how to verify that that buff has been applied. So when I jump into this fight, you're going to see that I'm going to drop stuff kind of willy-nilly, and that is not how I would do it in my main fights, but my purpose is to show you how to get in and get dirty with this fight. Let's hit start. All right. And I'm going to recommend, I'm doing this on PC, of course. I'm going to tell you, use the escape key fairly often in order to immediately pause this fight. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change this camera angle. I'm not a fan of this camera angle. I always do it here to where I get a nice drop down view. And so I'm going to place Isolde in the middle, and the reason why I do that is because I want to make sure that she gets as many heroes as possible in that physical damage reduction. So I'm going to do. Well, I said I was going to be. I am going to be pretty willy-nilly just in terms of the order, but my placement is going to be very intentional. I'm going to put Helga right here, and then I'm going to put Wrath right here. And let me explain why. Because if you read in Helga's kit, you'll see that she does some additional damage, or I think it's crit damage, based upon the stats. We'll probably read this afterwards. The stats of any units that are in front of her. Okay. So we're going to do Talon here, Medan here. See, she covers everyone. Hollow here. Again, Hollow is covering everyone. Nisande, check it out. Every one of those healers is covering everybody. Okay, the final question is going to be, let's look at Isolde's look at Isolde's ult. She can only cover 2 of my heroes. So whoever is the tankiest, which I believe is going to be Estrid, she is going to not get that bonus. She's going to go right here with Deimos and Volca down. All right. So in this fight, we're gonna get a few more seconds before the first attack starts, and you'll see it. You'll see Semrah charging up that attack, and when that happens, we're gonna pop Helga and we're gonna pop Hollow. And the reason why is because Helga's ult takes a while to go. I think it's either 20 or 25 seconds, and during that time, we want to make sure that she is continuing to generate rage, and that's what Hollow is going to be doing for us. So I'm watching, and as soon as I see this start, we're gonna click on Helga. Almost there. Okay. As soon as I see this, you'll see as I click on her, it's going. Now I don't like double clicking. I like single clicking. You can double click to catch those ults, but I like to single click, pause things. So now I've got Helga going, and take a look right here. Every time she stuns, we are removing even more and more of that attack. And once we hit 10, we're now stopping that attack pretty heavily. And so when Semrah slaps that down, it's going to be more of a pet. It's going to be more of a it's going to be more of a love tap. It's certainly not going to do any damage. So that is the power of Helga. That is the power of Nazim. They're pretty cool for this fight. And watch, instead of your entire team just getting absolutely wiped like it might have happened in the past, nothing happens. All right, so we've already taken down 50% of the damage. Now, I'm not popping any of the other ults, and let me explain why real quick. And the reason is we get all of our maximum. Hold on, got to get that ult popping, and we're gonna generate rage as soon as Hollow is ready. The reason why we do that is because the amount of damage that we can do as we're running Semrah down is fixed. But when we clear this, Semrah is going to go into a vulnerable state, and during that vulnerable state, take a look. We're about to get another whiff from Semrah. During that vulnerable state, we can do as much damage as we possibly can based upon our count. So obviously, a group of riffraff like this is not going to do that much, but we're going to try to min-max this and get as much damage as possible. The reason why is because when we clear the Aegis stage, which is stage 2, and the Poison stage, which is stage 3, we're going to enter into round 1. And we're going to see a nice number 1 right here where my cursor is, and that means that Semrah is going to add, I believe, 50% HP and 30% damage. And so that means Semrah is going to take a lot more damage to go down, and Semrah is going to slap a lot harder. And so our goal is to get as close to 30,000 as possible in this fight. So the more damage we do during that ult, the better. Okay. So a lot of these ults run for a good while, so we're going to go ahead and start popping them right now. Deimos is going to do a lot of damage. And let's look. Okay, so take a look at our stats. So Wrath, Talon, Deimos, and Volca. Those are our highest damage dealers. And this information is going to reset pretty soon. We are in the vulnerable state right now, and so we are doing as much damage as we possibly can. Okay, it reset, and now we'll see while Talon is on her ult, she's doing a fair amount of damage. That's good. Okay, so we are in the Aegis stage, and here in a minute, we're going to see the boss, after the Earth Shatter, we're going to see the boss charge up that first Aegis. And I'm going to point out, you're going to see a little blue shield right here. And if you don't have an offensive dispeller, you're going to see that shield. Here it comes. And in just a moment, Talon look how quick. Did you see how quick Talon took that off? Yeah, that's fast. If you don't have an offensive dispeller, by the end of this round, we're going to be up to like 5 or 6. We'll try to click on that shield and maybe pause so that we can read the actual stats. So as this fight gets down lower and you don't have an offensive dispeller, you're going to see your damage numbers just grind very low. I've said that once before, but I guess, like to ramble. Okay, we're keeping on going. We're holding on. I don't need to run Hollow's ult to recharge everyone. Everyone will be recharged in time. And Talon is such a cool dispeller. She's just going to do it automatically. So I'm actually going to double time this. Oh, I said I was going to pause once we got the next shield, but that didn't work out so good, did it? Yeah, Talon takes him down fast. She's really good. She's probably a better dispeller than Vorn. Vorn doesn't have a. Oh, here it comes. I'm going to say this real quick. Vorn doesn't have a manual ult. Vorn's auto um, ult is auto. Now, his rage requirement for that ult is only 550, but it is a long ult, and that it builds back up. So what I often see when I'm running Vorn is that basically we get two of those Aegis buffs before we can take it out. But it's okay. It's still Vorn still brings a lot to the table. Okay, here we go. Let's read it over. Enhances the damage of Earth Shatter, so that means it makes it more powerful, and increases Semrah's physical damage reduction by 10% and magic damage reduction by 10%, so it makes Semrah tougher. So once you get like 5 or 6 of these buffs going, you are really having, like, you're having to pop every ult every time just to clear the stage. I cannot emphasize enough. Having a Dispeller makes this stage so much more livable. So we're going to double time this and just keep running. Now, you can see Isolde is applying, I think this is just her Northern Faction bonus, but I don't remember it applying to non-faction heroes. She is providing shields for her team, and that is super important, especially since this little motley crew does not have a single AoE damage reducer. And if you know what I'm talking about, you know I'm talking about Nerissa, Pharisee, or Draylen. They are absolutely amazing, and they are essential. They are absolutely essential for pulling off higher scores in Apoc 2. Now, I need to Okay. I paused and then I got us back to 1 speed, and the reason why is because we want to pop those ults. I am not going to pop Hollow's ult, and the reason why is I want to hold on to that for when we start the cleanse, and you will see in a moment. So I'm going to go ahead and start popping ults. We're at 5%, and all these ults run a while. That'll work. Maybe this is a little suboptimal. Let me know in the comments. There we go. So I bet you by the time the poison stage starts, almost everyone will still be running their ult, except for maybe Talon. Okay, Talon just barely made it. All right, and immediately we have poison. We have poison. Oh, and we can actually read it right here. Each stack deals damage equal to 1% of the target's max HP every 2 seconds. So you can imagine if we get this, we get this stacked, 10, 15, 20, we're going to start really struggling, especially since we're using epic and not legendary heroes. But the rule of thumb here is we're going to wait, because here in a moment, Semrah is going to run that again. And okay, here it comes. And when she does, we're going to pop Midan and then Hollow. Why? Because we got to get Midan back as quick as possible. But Nisande is going to help us out. Now, I'm not going to pop this ult until I see that number go from 5 to, I think it's going to be 10 this time. So when you click on a hero's ult, it slows the game down. So if you want to really min-max, that's what you do. Here it comes. And yeah, I don't normally wait this long. I don't normally pause that early, but I really wanted you to see this. Still going. There we go. And popping him. And immediately that poison is dispelled. We'll go ahead and speed up the match. And so here comes the next poison. And we keep going, and slow down. We're taking a lot of damage. The Desande is ready. Look, we've got a hero there. It's not Talon. It's hold on. Here we go. I'm gonna time it a little better this time. Or maybe it is 10. My bad. There we go. And I'm holding on to Hollow. But you can see Midan is already recharged. And we're at 37.9%, so I think we're going to have to do at least one more cleanse. All right. Here we go. Acidic Venom. We're not going to cleanse just yet. We're going to wait for that second set of stacks. We can hold. We can hold with this. All right, Nisande. Now start. See that? As soon as Nisande was done with her ult, she was back at 1% rage. That is the difference between when Hollow is running her ult, or if you have one of those legendary healers, which would be Elowen or Ireless, who do rage regen as part of their kit. It's a big game changer. But we're going to do this. Okay? May not actually have to run it. I don't think we're going to have to. We're going to, at about 3%, start popping ults. Close enough. Do it. And yes, I could customize some settings here, but we're not going to do that in this run. I'm going to show you how to do it manually. And we did, in fact, get hit a second time, so we'll cleanse. I'm going to hold on to, maybe I shouldn't have held on to Hollow's ult because we want to get Helga back as quick as possible. Ideally, I should not have popped Helga's ult. That was probably a mistake because we need her ready. Now, I think we're about to get a hit, and it's going to be a powerful one. So I'm not exactly sure of the tell, but I'm going to go ahead and pop Isolde right now. I want to protect those healers. Hopefully I did it. Good. It held, and everyone held. Fantastic. Well done, Isolde. Okay. Yeah, we may have a little bit of a sticky situation here. Yep, we needed Helga back sooner. Oh boy. Oh boy. We're going to really... Okay, this is going to hurt. This is going to hurt bad, actually. Here we go. Pop that rage regen. Oh, nice. I got 36%. This is gonna hurt. No, actually. Oh, I just can't see the line. Yeah, we actually pulled it off. Whew. Once again, attack 120%. Cannot be dispelled. Helga's back at 66%, already 70%. We're gonna get her for the next round. We're at 60%. Okay. We survived that. We survived it. Here it goes again. Pop her ult. Here comes Hollow. Pop her ult. We can go ahead and double time this and just watch those stacks occur. Yes, we're going to be fine. Now remember, all of my DPS, they do have a tier 1 set. Oh, look, Helga's already back. But and they have a lot of decent tier 1 gear, but no sets on the right side. So we're trying to run it as lean as possible and using almost exclusively epic heroes. Okay? Stacks are coming. This is going to be another sneeze, basically, by Semrah, which is exactly what we want. And we're getting awful close to wanting to pop every one of those ults to maximize that damage during the vulnerability phase. Yes. So we're in the second round, and we're holding pretty strong. And we've got Isolde in the background, just waiting to do her thing, to do damage reduction. Here we go. Get as much as we possibly can. You can see that Wrath is pretty much consistently being our top damage dealer. This is definitely not a hero that you want to sleep on. Okay, so we're running it as much damage as possible. We're at 9,000. I certainly hope we can hit 15,000, and past that, everything we get is just going to be gravy. Oh, how interesting! So we just saw on the screen Matt the Fat promoted the hero Demi. So interestingly enough, Matt the Fat is in Guardians of Light, and this is in the world chat. What a coincidence. All right. Here we go. We saw Estrid took a good slap there, but she's doing fine. And watch how quickly Talon just says, you don't get that. So we don't need to, there's nothing we can really do to mitigate this because we're not using Dao Chan, we're not using Draylon. So there's no reason to really run this at regular speed. Dao Chan, she has two modes. She has I just call it the black and the white mode. I know they have technical names, but black mode means she's providing inspiration, which means a percentage of her attack is applied as attack increase for all heroes in range. So it's super important to build Dao Chan with attack in mind. And then Draylin, when her ult pops, everyone within range gets final damage reduction, which pretty much means, as I understand it, they won't die during the time of that ult. And if you get Draylin to A1, you get a second copy of her, or you use a Soul Stone, which I wouldn't do. I hold those for limiteds. Then you double that range, and it is the same. Hold on. Oh boy. So your boy Blue really blew this. I was talking and giving good advice, and during that time, I wasn't paying attention to the numbers. We are actually about to lose. We're about to lose. And how do I know that? Look at the time, look at the percent. I should have been popping some ults instead of running my mouth. So we're actually about to run out of time. I'm going to go down to single time. We're going to try. We are going to try, but I don't think this is going to work. Don't think this is going to work. Yeah, so I need to be doing 2% per second in order to clear Semrah. We're just not going to. So I think what I'm going to do is after we die, I'm going to pause this video, and then I'm going to get us back to this stage. And we're going to continue because, yep, we ran out of time. Oh boy. Because I wanted to see just how far we could get. But I blew it. No pun intended. Or, yes, pun very much intended. All right, so I'm going to say don't save. And we will be right back. And we will continue. Hey, before we get into the fight, I do want to say if you're enjoying this video, if you like the content and you want to see me do more, please like, subscribe, comment, help me out. I would greatly appreciate it. It's a lot of fun, but it's also a lot of time and effort, and I've got a lot of other responsibilities in life. So this kind of has to make sense for me to be able to keep doing it, if that makes sense. All right, let's get to the fight. Okay, we are back to roughly the same place, and so we got 30 seconds left, and so when we had 13 seconds previously, we still had 26% of the boss left, so we are going to take it this time. I was trying to rush to get back here because I got other things to do during the day, but ideally I would have timed it all to where we had as many ults recharged as possible. Specifically, I shouldn't have done Talon there because again, once we clear this, we want to do as much damage as possible. But this is where we are on the run, and we will continue, kind of take it slow. I'm going to hold on to Hollow again because I'm going to need her during that poison stage. So I always do math in my head as I go, and I try to watch and make sure that we are taking down the boss percentage point by percentage point fast enough. We are starting to slow down. I'm getting a little bit nervous. We're going to go ahead and pop those ults to make sure we get it. And we will, but it's close. Very, 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 Woo! Wow. That was way closer. So if we make it back to the Aegis phase in round 3, because remember this is round 2, we are going to just continually pop those ults. Okay. All right, so we're watching for. So now we're up to stacks of 7. Each time it's going to increment. Ooh, we're up to 17. So there goes Hollow. So that means things are starting to get serious here. Things are starting to get a little serious, and you can see that the boss also does a smash, which does some serious clapping. So the next time that happens, we're going to go ahead and do Isolde as well. All right, here we go. We're getting poisoned. I'm going to go ahead and run some of these other ults. They will recharge almost definitely. because I want to make sure we do not run out of time again. All right, so look, we are. Nope, nope, not yet, not yet. Probably should have popped sold previously. Okay. We're gonna watch for 20 stacks. Yeah. Okay. And time for Isolde to go. Midan is back. We're looking pretty solid, and our healers held very firmly that time. All right, so we've got 110 seconds and less than 50% of the boss left. We're going to be fine. Okay, there's our 10 stack. Lost my mouse. Drives me bananas when that happens. And take a little damage. I think we're going to get a slap out. We're still holding. It's going to be tough to get through that next round. Here we go. Oh, I used the wrong hero. Oops. That'll be fine. We're at 27%. There's our stacks. Go hollow. And great. I just lost Helga. That's going to really hurt. We're going to slow this. We're not going to do any more ults, obviously, because we need Helga back in the fight as quick as possible. So we're just going to kind of take our time. Nissan Day is going to cleanse us again. 30 seconds. Ooh. This is going to be... Oh, cool. Now we lost another. So this is what happens when you don't have AoE damage reduction. So this may be the end of our fight, and if so, that's okay. Because I still showed you how to get a fair amount of that chest. But if we can get to 15, if we can get to 15,000, that's gonna be huge. So we're gonna go ahead and pop some ults, and we are going to hope we can get to 15,000. And we are going to get Helga back, and maybe even get her ult back up in time, because she does start with a lot of rage. We may be able to. We may be able to continue, and this will happen. This will happen during the fight. You will periodically lose heroes. I'm going to pause real quick and say Estrid, I did not try to optimize her build. Estrid only applies defense reduction. I think she has a, don't hold me to this, like a 20 or 30% chance per strike to do defense reduction. She does have a mechanic where she periodically does a double strike. So if you're using Estrid for this fight, you want to build her with attack speed as a priority, because you're going to see at the end of the stats, as an AoE damage dealer, she's not going to do a huge amount of damage. You're bringing her primarily for that defense reduction. So you want that to proc as often as you possibly can. Okay, so Helga's back in the fight. I know we're about to have an attack. I may have not done it in time. Okay, I missed it. I missed the hand, but we survived it. Helga's ready. Hollow's ready. And let's see if we can get past this. Okay, so 24%, 60%, 84. We're going to do it. Yep. I feel like, okay, so I think we're going to get like a 10%. No, attack by 60%. I'm not sure of the numbers. Let's see if we take some damage this time. Yes, we did. So these rounds, these overdrive modes that Semrah has entered, we're in the third round, do make it to where even if Helga does her job perfectly like she did, we're still going to take damage. So later in this fight, especially in Apoc 2, we are going to start taking some hits, which is why when you do Apoc 2, especially if you're going for those real high numbers, you gotta have, it's required to have Nerissa or Pharisee, but preferably Nerissa, as well as Draylen. In fact, Draylen is part of my Apoc 2 team. Okay. We're at 75%. You know what I'm gonna do? You guessed it. We're gonna go ahead and use those ults because we don't want to run out of time. We're using a mod squad, and they take their time to get through these stages. But as you can see, they do the job. And take a look at that. We just hit that 15,000 mark. We just got the second best chest. So we're doing quite nicely. Now just understand that if you don't have Helga and you use Nazim instead, you will have to kind of fumble around with your placements a little bit differently. You may have to, well, you just may not use Talon because honestly, with the healers you have, this is really your ideal scenario where you have one platform and nobody else. No platform DPS. Or if you're using Dao Chan, well, if you're using Dao Chan and you got her A1, you can put her here, and I believe you will be able to get a platform DPS that will be able to be cleansed, but it won't get inspiration. Anyway, that is a whole other subject. I really should keep. Whoa! See that? Game over. Even though, oh, no, that wasn't that wasn't the buzzsaw. That was not the buzzsaw. Yeah, I don't think we're going to get any further. So in other words, I should have been paying attention, and Isolde should have popped her ult, and in fact, that would have saved. Well, it would not have saved Hollow, but it would have saved everybody else. I don't think we're going to get. I don't think we're going to be able to clear this simply because Semrah is going to start cracking skulls. Maybe not on the buzzsaw, but Semrah is going to periodically come slap down, and that is going to. Oh, look how quickly Talon came back. Okay, maybe we got a chance. Maybe Helga's not back, and you know why, right? Because we lost Hollow. We're gonna try. We are gonna try. 18%. Okay. We've got to do 1% per second. That's gonna be a tall order. Gonna be a real tall order. Are we gonna make it? But we've got Talon charged back up, popping her ult. It's gonna be so close, but I don't think we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. It's gonna be so very close. I am so disappointed. There we are. There we are. All right, there you have it. We got up to 16,000, so we cleared. Look at that. We got pretty decent rewards. I'm not going to save because I will rerun this with my closer to meta teams. I do have Twyla on this account. I don't have some Wukong. But look, so Talon actually was our top DPS just narrowly with Wrath coming in number 2, and then we've got Deimos, and then look our two AoE uh, team members that we brought for other purposes, they were close to each other. And then there's your Helga. I will tell you, if you're running Nazim, the Nazim's going to get a fraction of this damage, maybe 2 million. Nazim does one thing only, and that is stun. I will say you want Helga. So I'm actually my build with Helga is nowhere near optimal because again I was trying to kind of handicap myself, and you'll notice the fact that she's not even max crit rate. I prioritized attack speed and rage regen, so that along with Hollow and her ult, we are getting back to her ult as quick as possible because every time an attack takes place, we generate 14 rage on top of whatever this number turns out to be. And so the idea is you want to get back to. She has an expensive ult. She has an expensive ult, and that's with my Helga. Complete her ult is completely skill max. That's just the way it dropped. And so this was originally an 1100 rage ult, so that's pretty pricey. Okay, I think that this video has run probably as long as we want it to be, so I'm going to go ahead and get this all ready. So let me know in the comments if you would like for me to do a bit more of an advanced Apoc 2 video in which we go over a lot more material. Just let me know, and have a great one.